possessions, that's the only way they're going to win that game, and I don't think there's much chance of that. I'm going to sell out and go with Yorkville all the way. I hope Nashville wins it. And then that's why I'm loving this is today was pretty emotional. There's some really crazy stuff happening, and then you get this big double overtime game in 2A, and we get to start all over tomorrow.
Right.
With 3 and 4A.
Right.
So, and there's going to be some pretty intriguing storylines in there. For us, obviously, for our show, Bolingbrook is back at state again. If you really want to know what excellence looks like, just take a look at what Rob's done in the 10 years or so that he's been at Bolingbrook. It's their second trip to state, and they're always, it seems like they're always in the sectional, frequently in the super sectional, and then converting that super sectional opportunity. Tough game against Quincy the other night. They really got they were getting handed to you. I almost texted you because I left here,
right,
and I think they were down 28-21 at half, something like that. And I got home just in time to put the second half on, and I watched the whole second half. And what a masterpiece! I texted Rob, and I said that was just a coaching masterpiece tonight. He they slapped on a full court press. The kids acted energized, and they just shut Quincy down. Now, Quincy, if you ask a Quincy fan, ask DOB, he'd say, "Hey, we shot poorly. You didn't shoot poorly in the first half."
Right.
I think the defense changed some things. I think the way they got after you changed some things.
Yeah.
And but the fact is that this is a dangerous team, and their reward for this great work is they get to play the number one team in the state that has not lost in Illinois all year. They've lost one game, and that was to LeBron James. Or I don't know whatever his kid's name is. Sierra Canyon,
Yeah.
Is it Brony or Bronny?
I don't know if that's a nickname. I don't know if he's LeBron Jr. and that's his nickname, or if that's his given name. I'm not sure.
Bottom line is that's their only loss, and they are really, really good. So Bolingbrook's going to have their hands full. The winner of that game, in my opinion, is going to win the state title.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other teams. Whitney Young is up there. Yeah. There's going to be some really good stuff going on. All right, we've got just a few minutes left, and just quick transition into baseball real quick. The owners settled. One of the things that one of my players asked me, or we were having this conversation yesterday, that they're going to a bigger base.
Right.
Can you explain to me why? What the thought process is?
The only thing I can think of, I haven't seen anything official on this or reasons why, has got to be some sort of safety issue.
Okay, so I've seen two things.
That would
released.
be my only. I can't figure out any other reason.
The other reason is to increase stolen bases. Now, this prompted a question, and if it gets into a math thing, I think we know I'm screwed. But one of my players said, actually, is our catcher, Cameron Hanvey, said, well, is it not going to be 90 feet anymore?
That's a good point.
And I said, I don't know. I would think from home plate to the edge of first base, which today is 90 feet,
right,
is still going to be 90 feet. But then he said that can't be, because if you start there and you make the base bigger, it's going to be bigger both ways,
correct,
which means the distance to second base will be shorter.
Shorter.
So I'm assuming that's all been figured out. But if you take the center of the base and expand outward, then you are cutting the distance, and yes, you probably will see more stolen bases.
Right.
I think they said the base was going to be 30. How much bigger? 30% bigger. The surface was going to be 30% bigger.
When you see the picture of them compared side by side, it's quite a bit bigger.
Okay, so I just want to know: are we still talking about? Are we changing the dimensions of baseball?
Well,
and if we are, then if somebody steals 127 bases this year, whatever the number is, and breaks Ricky's record,
not one word.
Does it count?
They're going to count it because, and again, here's my frustration with this whole thing is that, and I've seen a lot of people say this, and I actually agree, that the people in charge of baseball actually hate baseball based on what they're trying to do to it. You're doing things that that take away from the game that was once revered.
Banning the shift? Come on.
Ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
And again, it's play, stack 9 guys on top of each other at first base. Do whatever you want.
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever
you want to leave the whole left side of the infield open.
It's up to the other team to adjust.
Or, here's the other thing it's up to. The hitters.
Right.
Beat the shift.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Get handy. Get handy.
Right.
And learn to hit the other way.
Which is such a lost
Matt
art.
Carpenter.
Forget about that
Does
guy.
he still play? Is he still in the league?
Ironically, no team signed him yet, but we'll see.
Darn.
But, when we were growing up, and before he came here, you watched Whitey Herzog do the exact same thing he did here in Kansas City.
Yes.
Big ballpark, structured a team to play a certain type of game, and they did that. Whitey left Kansas City, came
That's
here.
what got him the gig here.
Correct.
No doubt. Which is his love. His love is here.
Did the same thing. His Royal teams were very good, could never get past the Yankees, who were a dynasty back then, but came here, did the same thing. Hey, let's steal some bases, let's hit and run, let's hit behind the runner, let's do all these things.
Let's move guys over.
Right. You get a leadoff double, and then you hit behind the runner, game to third, and then a sacrifice fly, and you got to run. But no, because the analytics goofs sit there and only value walks, strikeouts, and home runs. That's why no balls are put in play anymore, because of the launch angle and all the Ks. Instead of guys, when we were growing up, JT, if you watch old footage, it's funny. You see cleanup hitters choking up with 2 strikes.
Without a doubt.
You see cleanup hitters trying to go the other way, just put the ball in play with 2 strikes. And I'm sorry, that's how the game should be played. And they've gotten so far away from that. You don't need to do all these fixes. Just go back to the way the game was played 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. It'll be fine.
I couldn't agree with you more. And we are trying to they're trying to create more interest in the common man. I don't think that's ever going to happen. The common fan, not even the fan, the common person who's like, well, let me go see what's baseball? Let me see what this is all about.
Right.
It's 2-1. That's, I guess, the way I feel about soccer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Soccer's very difficult for me to watch. At the high school level, I watch it because I love the kids.
Uh-huh.
But I can't watch it professionally. I can't get into the World Series or whatever they call it. I can't do any of that nonsense. But maybe people feel the same way about baseball. But I will tell you this: if they change the soccer rules and make the goal bigger, and the games are 8-6, it's not pulling me in.
No,
I'm still not watching it. It's
right,
still
because
nonsense.
then you look at it and go, well, anybody can do that,
right?
But,
and that's what's going to happen in baseball.
Yeah.
If we keep moving fences in, so
what's next? A pitcher can't throw a slider or a curveball?
Well, Trevor Bauer unloaded on Twitter the other day.
Right.
And it was awesome. And it looks like he's probably going to get to play this year.
Uh-huh.
He got in trouble for being an adult. You don't want to do that. But, the fact that the guy's got a little goofy with a girl behind closed doors, why does that matter?
Hey, your own personal business. Whatever.
Anyway.
Here's the interesting point that was brought up, too. If Ozzie Smith played today and was in his prime, would he have been Ozzie Smith? Because he would have never got half the chances that he got when guys actually put the ball in play. He'd be standing around waiting. He might get two balls a game or something compared to 5 or 6 like he did.
Correct.
On a regular game. So just leave the game alone, and teams go back to putting the ball in play, because here's the deal. Think about what you want to about the Astros, and I'm not a fan of obviously what they did or anything, but
right,
they put the ball in play more than any other team statistically, and the results are there. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They do all these things, and you've got to do that. You can't have like one of the problems with the Cardinals. They got guys that strike out way too much. And if you're going to do that, go figure, you're not going to score runs. So from a pure entertainment standpoint, go back to putting the ball in play and some small ball, some Whitey ball every now and again while you're waiting for a 3-run homer, please.
I felt like Whitey ball was pretty exciting.
Oh, for sure.
Here's what Bauer said 3 days ago. If we're banning the shift, let's just ban breaking balls and all off-speed pitches. Walks should also be banned. After ball 4, the pitcher must throw a fastball down the middle until the hitter puts the ball in play.
Right.
Home runs are not allowed after ball 4. Strikeouts no longer count. Anytime a hitter strikes out, the defense must remove 4 fielders, and the hitter is allowed to throw the ball from the plate into play and start running. Also, after you hit a certain number of home runs, it becomes an out, so we can keep it so that I can finally get Fernando Tatis Jr. out. Then later on, he said he would also like. Hang on a second.
That's classic.
Every time there is an 0-2 count, the pitcher must move and throw from second base.
Right, and his point is well taken.
Oh, and you also get the live tweet from the mound after every pitch.
His point is well taken. It's absurd what they're trying to do to the game. It's just silly.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Hey, we've got 4 minutes left. A couple of things very quickly. These are personal, so if you don't want to hear anything positive about Jabot High School, quit listening. Today we took delivery of 1,300 pounds of brand new bags of mound clay. It's very expensive. It's Georgia clay. It's an extremely expensive. It's I think $1,500 or something like that.
Right.
My son AJ won that at the coaches clinic in Greenville this year.
Oh.
Yeah, whatever. Right. He was there on our dime. And he went with Coach Scare.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like he had to make a tough choice here. Obviously,
right, yeah,
he's going to give it to the program. But Andy stopped today, brought all the kids around as we were unloading the clay. I say we, I didn't lift a finger. But as they're unloading the clay, and he said, hey, just want to tell you guys a little story about how we got this. A.J. Thompson won it, and he donated it to the program. It's the single largest alumni donation ever to the baseball program. Well, I thought it was pretty cool.
That's hilarious. Now, I want to see a plaque behind home plate with his name on it.
Well, it would go on the mound since it was mound clay. But
that's fantastic.
It really made me feel good. And here's another thing that happened this week. Andy waits to give out varsity uniforms to freshmen until late, right before the first game. We play next Wednesday against Granite City now, because the Staunton games never mind. But that'll be a story for off the air.
Okay.
But he, at the end of practice, stops and makes a little speech about what it means to be a Jabot baseball player. And I looked at, and he has the kids look out in center field, and there's 2 plaques. I mean, two big board signs that say state champions 2013, second place 2019. And I got to thinking that's pretty hard to do. In 6 years, to get there twice, to win it once, get second the other time, that's pretty hard to do. And he has set a standard of excellence there that I don't think I really probably appreciated as much until he did this. And this is a thing he does every year. And then he had Eric Schrader, who was on the 20 team, give his jersey to one of the freshmen because Eric is now a coach with us. Mm. And Eric didn't get to play his senior year because Putin wouldn't act quick enough.
Right.
And so it was just a moving kind of ceremony that was really meant just for us. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to tell the story because I want Andy to be recognized for the incredible worker that he is. And we've had him on the podcast. We need to probably run it back again with him. But the guy's just incredible, organized, detail-oriented. And there is no doubt that it's not going to be long before we get back there. I really believe that. I think we're very close. We're going to be fun to watch this year.
Well, you got Georgia Clay on the mound. Of course you're getting back there.
Georgia Clay on the mound, and that's all you need. So anyway, dodge the snowflakes tomorrow. I'm going to talk to Scott. We haven't even discussed this, but I think we ought to probably try to do a show, I don't know about Sunday night, but maybe Monday to recap the IHSA playoffs. Yeah. We appreciate you listening. Tonight you got nothing but content. Everybody should be happy. I didn't put anything else on it. You've been listening to the 618 High School Huddle, hosted by
us.
Thank you.
What happened?
Stop.